Hello, my name is Anna Tyrrell. I'm a licensed social worker and a licensed counselor, and I'm here today to talk to you about dad's role in attachment and early child development. Unfortunately, over the years, the field of working with families has been dominated by women, and as such, we tend to view things from our own viewpoint and underestimate the role that dads have in raising children. Additionally, oftentimes, dads may leave the primary caregiving to the mothers, and as a result, they undervalue their role, and moms may also undervalue the role of dads in children's lives. Previous research and theory used to blame moms for what goes wrong with children, until a female psychologist perused the literature and concluded that while moms may carry some responsibility in how children turn out, at least they were there. She hypothesized that it was the absence of fathers that seemed to create more damage than the presence of mothers. More research started to explore this and demonstrated that fathers actually do have a lot to offer when they're actively engaged with their children. This presentation will highlight some of that research that was summarized in an article from Scientific American Mind in 2010. A student of mine, Tiffany Morris, helped put these slides together. So we hear a lot about attachment parenting. So let's understand that a little bit more, because it's important to know that both parents are crucial when it comes to providing good attachment for children. We are neurobiologically designed to thrive in the context of relationships, and this is true throughout our lives. So not only when we are young, but also as we age, having a significant relationship with another person that we can rely on to have our back generally leads to a more fulfilling life and longer life. And that's the bottom line when we look at attachment parenting. We're looking for someone who can assure the child that the parent or attachment figure, some caregiver, has their back and will have their back throughout their lifetime. And a person who knows that they will be there for the child, and that the child knows that the adult will be there for them, and that adult loves them, values them, and sees them as a significant, meaningful human being. Creating a strong emotional bond between the caregiver and child provides for good attachment. Babies learn then to trust and thrive when their needs are being met, and from birth, we instinctively search for closeness and security. It's necessary for the emotional safety as well as food and survival. Traditionally, we see dads working, coming home tired, and spending less time in childcare. Of course, that's changing. More dads are taking paternity leave, and more companies are offering family leave so that mothers and fathers can take time off work to welcome their new babies. Even still, we do see dads sometimes not taking that time or not feeling like they have a role with the new infant, particularly if mom is breastfeeding and spending a lot of time helping the baby go to sleep. Dad might not feel like he has a real strong role in early child care, but we know that that's not true, and we'll explore that a little bit more. But look at how things have changed. In 1965, Dad spent about 2.5 hours a week in childcare, and by the year 2000, nearly 4 decades later, they gained about an hour a decade in 2000 to 6.5 hours a week. Today, though, we see 3 times as many dads staying at home compared to 10 years ago, and we're seeing more single father families happening. And certainly when parents are not married or not living together, we consider both parents single parents, but we do consider them full-time parents just part of the time. So just exploring this a little bit more, in the past, dads were considered a secondary parent. They would only jump in when moms couldn't manage. But now dads are more than just backups. Research shows that they are biologically responsive to their children, just as mothers are. Dads have more influence than we once thought. Many of us are familiar with the hormonal changes that moms may go through after having children, but we see now that dads go through physiological changes as well when they have contact with their newborns, especially when they have skin-to-skin contact. Their heart rate changes, respiration, skin temperature, and other small physiological changes occur when their fussy newborn is held. Blindfolded dads are able to pick their children out of a baby lineup just by touching their hands. Fathers experience elevated levels in prolactin. This is a hormone that is highly elevated in new mothers as well, that are attached and responsive to their child. Prolactin is a hormone that is that we're familiar with when we think about breastfeeding, but it is a nurturing and bonding hormone. And so dad gets elevated levels so that he is also open for attachment and bonding with the newborn. In fact, that's not the only change that dads experience that are similar to moms. Dad's testosterone levels drop by about 1/3 in the first few weeks. This makes them more nurturing. The other thing is that it does reduce sex drive a bit so that mom has a chance to heal. Dads can also suffer from postpartum depression. So let's look at why dads matter and ways that they do. For one thing, dads tend to challenge their kids by pushing them emotionally and cognitively. This helps prepare them for the real world. It is true. Dads do tend to push a little farther. Moms might coddle a little more. The good news is that neither one is right, neither one is wrong. Children need a balance of both. Certainly in early infancy and early toddlerhood, children don't need to be pushed a lot. But we do find that dads tend to nudge a little bit more. Dads are able to interpret their infant's distress and respond accordingly, and they tend to engage more in playtime with their children. This is highly positive. Moms tend to spend more time managing household routines and some of the needs that are going on with feeding, changing, nap times. And a lot of times they're tired too, so they might not get on the floor and play with children as much, but dads do. They tend to get on the floor and engage in more playtime with their children. Again, neither one is right or wrong. They're both important for healthy development. In fact, dads spend 40% of childcare time engaging in interactive play. They'll get on the floor reading or playing, and moms tend to spend about 22% of their time on the floor. So we can see that it's important for the kids to have some time playing with mom and dad, but generally dads are more likely to do that. And again, usually because mom is handling some of the other responsibilities. Floor time and playing with children improves cognitive and social functioning in children. Infants as young as 8 weeks sense the pattern and will respond accordingly. Babies as young as 8 weeks will have an increased heart rate when dad picks them up and a decreased heart rate when mom picks them up. And again, think about it. Most dads, when they pick up the babies, they're ready to put them up in the air, rock them, and kind of move them around a little bit more, where moms will tend to rock. And infants can perceive these differences and respond accordingly. Again, things that we know instinctively have been confirmed by the research. Dads tend to challenge through their play style. They tend to be more physical with the kids. They're more likely to bounce kids on the knee, throw them up in the air, wrestle, chase them, and just roughhouse a little bit more and have active play. Moms will engage more through verbal play and singing. Dads are more innovative and create new ways to use toys. Dads are less predictable, therefore being surprising children and engaging in more creative play and boosting their cognitive development. Dads encourage more physical risks. Again, neither parent is right or wrong in their style of interacting with the children. Parenting is a two-party system, and it's the balance of what moms and dads contribute when it comes to raising children. So just as dads tend to be a little more creative with their play, they do tend to challenge their kids a little bit more. They'll train them to be tougher and a little more daring, which opens them up to new experiences. Those new experiences help prepare children for future challenges. They're better able to problem solve. Dad's communication patterns influence a child's language development. They tend to be less sensitive to the child's language skills. So what that means is moms and dads will use what's called mommies when babies are born. It's a sing-songy kind of voice, a little higher pitched, and they tend to elongate the vowels. Moms will hang on to that kind of speech for babies, and that's a good thing. The elongated vowel sounds helps children learn language and understand language longer. It's also more pleasing to their ears. Dads, however, tend to drop that off. And by being a little less sensitive in that arena, what it does tend to do is broaden children's language, because dads will start talking with more adult language and provide a larger variety of root words for children to learn. They'll tend to use more complex words, they'll talk about more unusual subjects, and they will speak at more sophisticated levels with children. Think about dad jokes. Usually they involve some double entendre or play with words. This helps strengthen children's language skills and broaden their language skills, so that's a good thing. But remember, the mommy's talk creates a balance to that so that children will understand language and understand the words that are being said. Dads may speak words that children don't fully understand, but they get the gist of the conversation. In the long run, because of that exposure to that additional language, they will then pick up words more readily because they were introduced with dad's language skills. So it's important that we're positive about dads and dads' role with their kids. Depressed dads influence a child's development and impact their ability to parent. So as I mentioned, dads can experience postpartum depression. Their lives have changed too, and sometimes the loss of some of the free time that they had or the activities they were engaged in can be significant. Sometimes the loss of attention that they received from their partner, because their partner is now fully focused on the infant, can be difficult for dads to adjust to. So they do experience adjustment. And we know that a lot of moms with postpartum depression, part of that is feeling disconnected as well. So it's really important that moms and dads try to connect with each other and support each other to try to prevent or minimize the effects of that depression. But we need to recognize that depressed parents do impact children, and parents need support, and supported parents are less likely to feel depressed. Children with stable and involved dads are more cognitively, socially, and emotionally diverse. Children are more sociable, confident, and less likely to act out when dads have an active role in their lives. In addition, sharing parenting duties results in being more satisfied in a parenting role. So it is true, the more you do it, the more you enjoy it. So it is important. Also, when dads are more involved, moms are less stressed, they're more positive about children and happier in their marriage. Mom's poor influence about dads can have a negative impact. For example, when moms do eye roll, when they correct dads, when they make a face, when they warn dads that they're playing too risky. This sometimes discourages dads from being involved. Certainly, we don't want to give full permission for dads to do roughhousing when the children are too young, but we do want dads to feel engaged, and we want to recognize that moms and dads parent differently. Neither one is wrong. It's the balance of both that makes it better for children. Moms that were encouraging to fathers saw more involvement. And again, more involved dads provide for happier moms. On a side note, some research has shown that when dads who live with moms do participate in household chores and help get the work done before bedtime, do get more sex because mom's able to go to bed relaxed and not worrying about all of the things she needs to do the next day when it's gotten done in the day that's just finished. So sharing is caring. Splitting the responsibilities with dad can have a great impact not only on the child, but mom's relationship with dad. Children grow more socially, cognitively, and emotionally than they would without their dad's involvement. Moms are less stressed and more positive about their roles as well. So let go and share the responsibilities with dad. Happy children mean happy parents. If you are in a situation where mom and dad do not live in the same house, it's important to come up with a schedule or a plan so that the child has access to both mom and dad. Babies are not going to forget who their primary caregivers are. They'll know who each of you are. It's important to share the time and share your child. You have a lifetime ahead of you of sharing, so finding arrangements to do that is very helpful. And if you're struggling to find a way to do that by yourselves, there are many professionals who can help. If you're not married and don't need to get a divorce, you go through the juvenile court system to get a parenting plan in place. However, before you do that, whether you're going through a divorce or a separation, you can work with a mediator to help you develop a shared parenting plan so that all you would need to do is file that plan with the court. This is far more cost-effective and time-effective and efficient by going through mediation prior to going through the court process. It doesn't negate the need to go through court, but it does help facilitate the decisions that you need to make on how you're going to share your child easier than going through the court process. Certainly at my practice, we provide that service, and we also assist young parents in being able to navigate those first few months of managing bonding and infant care when living in two different homes. I hope you found this talk helpful. I hope it's encouraging to moms to let go and let dads get involved, and I hope it's also encouraging for dads to take a more active role with their children from day one. Best wishes and good luck to you on your venture in raising your children.